Hello, YouTube. Had to make sure I was an adequate distance away from the polling location before I started recording. It's been very widely publicized on the news that there's a minimum distance you must be away from a polling location before starting to record in public, and they definitely had signs up in the area saying no recording, so and no photography and stuff. So I'm driving through the really nice part of Arcadia right now. Kind of surprising to see so many Christmas lights up already. By the way, it is 6:04 p.m. Tuesday, November 8th, 2022. Yep, it's election day. So it's been on the news since I woke up and have been listening to KTAR. I listened to KTAR on the way to the polling location. And apparently there are many voting centers that are having problems, technical problems, which, yeah, welcome to Arizona. Although the location I went to, everything was running very smoothly and working just fine. In fact, I used the county website. I forget what the heck it was called. I want to say locations.maricopa.vote, which has a thing in it. Oh man, it's been a while since I've driven through this neighborhood. I forgot what a freaking maze this is. I didn't know it was going to be that difficult to get back to 56th Street. I just turned left onto Lafayette. Okay. So anyway, I used locations.maricopa.vote. Used that website to not only find my voting location, but to see how much
where 270 people are in line with about a 90-minute wait. At Mesa Community College,
oh yeah, see, that would have made me late for work. I mean, as it is, I'm kind of looking at being a little late for work as it is, but
230 people are in line at about an 80-minute wait.
Anyway,
they've waited more than 2 hours at some voting sites, but there are more voting centers across Maricopa County and plenty without lines. You can check out,
as she said, plenty without lines. Yeah, I checked the website, and the location which is closest to me, which is a large Presbyterian church on the corner of 42nd Street and Thomas. That voting location is notorious for having ridiculously long lines. I remember, I want to say it was during the Democratic primary election in 2016. I remember there being such a line there that it was causing a traffic jam. And this was a primary election. Such a line there that it was causing a traffic jam on Thomas. And they had the line, the line there, it goes into the entry location is in the parking lot of the church, which is on the south side of the church, the side opposite of Thomas Road. And there's a little parking lot there. Well, the parking lot was obviously overflowing. There was nowhere to park from what I could see. Like all the side streets were just, and all the parallel parking, that whole neighborhood was just occupied. But what really caught my eye, and mind you, I'm voting in the Democratic primary, you know. I'm just trying to get home. Going down Thomas Road, and
Vote.
There we go.
Polls open until
Locations,
7 o'clock. In downtown.
Of course, by the time this gets
Phoenix,
posted, it's going to be way too late. I'm about 2 days behind on posting videos right now. Anyway, my throat is scratchy today. Anyway, the God, alarm stop.
As the festivities commence. Yeah, Peter, hundreds of people are filling the ballroom at the Scottsdale Resort at McCormick Ranch for the Republican Watch Party. Inside the main ballroom, the walls are lit up red.
You know, it would be nice to have the luxury of just sitting and watching election results, but I've been in Arizona long enough to know that we're not going to have any definite answers tonight. It's not how it works in Arizona. Arizona will most likely be counting ballots for the next week, maybe longer. Especially considering some of the issues that I heard reported on the radio with ballots at voting locations. My process, though. Oh, and by the way, as you see, as I mentioned, I'm coming from a polling location. I decided once again, instead of being part of that problem of early ballots being turned in at the last minute, being piled up and needing counted, I decided, since I went ahead and waited till voting day, I used the election day. I used the Dropbox, or no, not Drop. Sorry, I'm not. Oh, usually more articulate than this is killing me. I actually went ahead and did the whole procedure and voted in person, which is what I did at the 2020 election as well. Now, there was quite a bit of a line when I went at the 2020 election, but this time I used the website to find a polling location that didn't have a line, and it was quick. I mean, just boom, right in. Went as you saw, I was in Arcadia. It was a location at a school right off of 56th Street in Lafayette, which, as you can see, is not far from my home. It's not as close as the Presbyterian Church over on Thomas, but that one showed like hundreds of people in line, and they were estimating the wait to get in and vote, to say nothing about the amount of time it takes to do the whole procedure, of like 45 minutes. I'm like, yeah, that'll make me really late for work. As it is, I'm running kind of late right now. It's 6:11. I haven't really looked to see how much traffic I'm facing. I should already be on my way to work, but I realized that I don't have a new operator vest with me. And granted, I could get one from Learning on the way in, but I don't know. I know I have 3 of them, and I hate being the asshole that's like, oh, forgot my vest. So yeah, I got time. If this guy would go faster than 15 miles an hour, I've got time to pop home and grab it. So, I actually slept today over at Priscilla's apartment, which was nice. Yeah, got some morning love. Of course, had I not done that, I'd have probably cast a more educated vote. Let's be honest here. I did not make it through all the voter information. I did not research my ballot as much as I usually do. And to be fair, on some of the elections that I didn't feel I could cast an educated vote on, I just left it blank. So, I figure that's better than voting for somebody that I just absolutely know nothing about. Anyway, I gotta run inside, grab my stuff, and probably am not gonna shoot video on the way to work because I really need my traffic view to get there on time, leaving this late. Anyway, thanks for watching and coming along for the ride.
To promote violence, you're basically saying things to provoke others to act in a violent manner, a criminal manner, that you yourself are part of that crime itself.
Penzone says leaders should inspire people to solutions, not to division. You're never more than 15 minutes away from today's top stories on Arizona's news station, KTAR News. A
I'm Chuck Rowe, live in the Valley Chevy Dealers Traffic Center. Still dealing with a few freeway issues on the 202 South Mountain Freeway northbound at Van Buren. There's a crash that's clearing off right. I-10 westbound at 99th Avenue. That wreck is off right as well. Delays there from about 83rd Avenue. Clearing a wreck on the I-17 southbound at Cactus. Delays there from Greenway. Just got word of a crash in Scottsdale. The 101 Pima Freeway westbound at Tatum Boulevard. Some Surface Street issues in Scottsdale as well. Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard at Hayden. Also Hayden at Thompson Peak Parkway, and watch for a collision at McDowell Road at 43rd Avenue. I'm Chuck Rowe, KTAR News.
Mostly clear skies tonight as we close out Election Day voting, and then we'll have overnight lows in the upper 50s. We're expecting a 50% chance of rain tomorrow morning. The valley highs will drop significantly to the mid-60s tomorrow. Weather brought to you by Howard Air. Weather replace or repair, call Howard Air.
The weather has been so nice lately.
KTAR is monitoring all the biggest races, not just in Arizona, but across the country. In battleground Pennsylvania, with a dispute over how mail-in ballots are counted, the U.S. Senate race may not have a clear result tonight. Right now, a close race between Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman and Dr. Mehmet Oz.
There have been some irregularities with mail-in ballots. People have been filling them out wrong, maybe not having the required signature or other minor defects on them. Fetterman doesn't want those ballots thrown out. He wants them counted, and he thinks voters should have a chance to correct them if they're missing some minor information. So that's just some of what election officials will have to deal with.
Oh, I hate it when this happens.
Already cautioning we could
come on, pull forward, dude. You got room. Pull forward.
ABC's Derek Dennis in Pittsburgh. And we may not know who won the Georgia Senate race tonight.
Pull forward.
But we do
Please
know
pull
what
forward.
voters in the Peach State are thinking.
Republican Senate candidate.
So it's 6:18 p.m.
A referendum on the Biden presidency.
Tuesday, November 8th, 2022, midterm election day. You didn't see my last video, you should probably watch that one first. Yeah, just coming back from the polls, went to a voting location in like old Arcadia, Lafayette, right off of 56th Street, and a school over there. Oh yeah, that asshole totally had room. He could have pulled forward. Yeah, I went to locations.maricopa.gov, saw that the voting location closest to me had an incredibly huge line, as per always. And so I looked for other locations that were kind of close. The next one that was semi-close that the website suggested based on my address also had a fairly long line, and then the next one on the list was like, oh, that's just right over on Lafayette, and no line at all, so I went over there. It was a lot busier than I expected it to be, but yeah, there was no line waiting. I just walked right in. I don't know if I'm not good at signing things on a screen with my finger. I'm guessing my digital signature didn't match the signature they have for me on record enough, because they did ask to verify on ID, and I didn't see them asking other people to verify IDs, which is fine. I got my driver's license on me, but I have my driver's license on me, and of course my voter registration card, my new voter registration card with the name of the current county recorder on it. I actually still have my voter registration card with it says Helen Purcell County Recorder on it as well, which it's no secret I'm kind of a hoarder, but there's certain things that I keep because they evoke strong memories for me. I don't make scrapbooks, I just make scrap boxes of this kind of crap for no good reason other than sometimes I go through it and I decide to keep most of it, and I'm like, and just the memories flood back, and it's just always a good experience for me. Sometimes a painful experience putting up memories, but whatever. But yeah, I totally expect to forever keep my voter registration card, which lists Helen Purcell as the county recorder, just because after several decades, over 2 decades. 2 decades? I guess it was about 2 decades at the time. In fact, come to think about it, I think it was exactly 2 decades of not being able to vote because I was a convicted felon. That was when I got my right to vote back. So, a voter ID card actually means a lot to me. So, the new one I just got, for being for being on the list.
If the judge says, yes, keep everything open till 10 p.m., announce the results at 11 p.m., because that's the other part of the lawsuit. This could be subject to even an appeals process, even within the next few minutes.
Yeah, it's a perfect storm, because if you look at the polling that's been coming out recently in those 6 statewide races that we've been talking about, at least 4 of those races are within the margin of error. And these are very, very down-to-the-wire close races. So you're going to want to make sure every vote is counted accurately and every voter that wants to vote gets to. And I don't blame any candidate for saying that has got to happen in a race where every vote is going to make a difference.
Do you think heads are going to roll after this?
Yeah, unfortunately, yes. I do. Stephen Richer is a friend. I like Stephen very, very much. I know he's a good man. I know none of this is intentional. He's not part of the conspiracy. But we called out Pinal County when they didn't get it right in the primary election, and it was rightful to do that. We got to make sure that the elections are handled properly. And the largest county in Arizona with the technology and the money that we have.
Pinal County screwed up ballots bad this year.
Oh my God. I feel really bad for Stephen, but I feel a lot worse for the people in Arizona that are concerned, in Maricopa County, that are concerned about the vote.
Yeah, especially since Richard campaigned about getting things right, making his office boring again. But you could hear the dejection in his voice today with Gatos and Chad.
I heard that interview. He sounded like he wanted to cry.
Terrible about the whole thing.
That's one of the things about Stephen Richer that I will say is that he's an honorable guy. He is somebody that wanted to get this right after what happened a few years ago when Adrian Fontes was the county recorder and he lost the race to Stephen Richer. Richer wanted to get this right. There's no doubt he wanted to. That doesn't mean he should get a pass as far as professionalism goes or getting the job done right goes. He's a professional. But I do understand that people are concerned, and this is a job in the climate we have that you cannot afford these.
They're talking bad about what Adrian Fontes did. I thought the way he ran the election was actually really, really good, and a huge improvement on the way Helen Purcell had run it.
So they were supposed to have the supervisory hand in the tabulation machines.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is I'm anxious to find out exactly what the problem is. I know they were saying it was a printer issue or whatever else. That's the other part of this that I think is going to ease people's minds, that they are able to accurately say, this is what happened and why it happened. It may ease people's concerns, but I don't know if they will.
And one last question before I let you prepare for our special show beginning at 7 p.m. tonight. As of right now, what do you think are the chances of Republicans sweeping Arizona, taking most of the races? What are your prognostications, if you have any?
Usually I've got pretty strong opinions about things. I think the Republicans are pretty well positioned. I think this is the time of year where the tailwind is with them. But we also understand the way things are polling and they're so close. I wouldn't be as surprised to see it be a split 3-3. I think the Republicans have a good chance of going 5-1 or 4-2, but I wouldn't be surprised by anything. That's how close these races are. It's all going to be down to turnout, and I wouldn't want to bet either way.
And those are the 6 statewide offices:
yes.
Governor, Attorney General, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and let's not forget the races for the state legislature. There's only a 1-seat majority for Republicans in both the House and the Senate, and that's up for grabs as well. We don't have any idea where that's going to go either.
It'll be a fun night. It'll be probably a fun 2 years.
Yeah, it will be.
After tonight, for sure. Mike Brumet, thank you so much. Mike and all of our KTR hosts.
I can't help but wondering what the chances are that Priscilla voted for Katie Hobbs, effectively canceling my vote for Carrie Lake. Like, there's a good chance of it.
Polls from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. tonight, and results released from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. tonight. We'll tell you all about it and where that stands in just a few moments. And of course, we'll have another check on your traffic too. KTR News Time is 6:26.
Speaking of checking my traffic, I'm trying to pull that up on the Obama phone.
Award-winning KTAR news team at KTAR.com. No subscription fees and no obnoxious pop-up ads.
I really need to get a second phone holder.
Jamie West here, and whether you're refinancing, buying your first home, or wanting to buy an investment property, you and I both know the loan process can seem to take forever, but not with Barrett Financial Group. Barrett can get your loan done more quickly and with better rates than the big banks.
traffic just because it's a lot quicker and more responsive.
With access to hundreds of loan products. So
But it does work on the Obama phone, and I'm pretty sure I've got full speed data on it right now, such as it is, which is kind of slow.
Don't spend your time trying to figure out which mortgage is right for
I think
you.
the biggest delay I get on using it for traffic though is
tailored for you. Get started today.
the phone itself as opposed to the network.
/KTAR. That's Barrett with 2 R's and 2 T's. BarrettFinancial.com/KTAR.
Looks like my best bet is to get on I-10, but to exit 67th. A lot of congestion where the 202 meets up with the 10 on the west side, which is pretty normal this time of day. Yeah, that's something I don't want to be stuck in. So I have to, all the lanes coming in from the 202, I have to kind of cross all of those if I exit 75th. Whereas the exit for 63rd is kind of in the middle of the intersection of the 202. If you watch this vlog, you've probably seen me take that exit several times before. You know, I was going to try to draw some conclusions on the last couple of videos I had where I was explaining stuff and just kind of left you all hanging, but right now the biggest thing on my mind is that I just voted and the elections and the ramifications of the elections, and actually what is more on my mind is hearing about how while I was partially sound asleep in Priscilla's bed and partially like if she left for work in the morning, I'm not sure what time, but she had to go into the office in North Scottsdale. Seems like she's working at the office a whole lot more and working at home a whole lot less. So, you know, which kind of has me thinking, you know, how where I would be now had I waited for that to happen as opposed to kicking her out when I did in August. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't regret kicking her out in August, I really don't. And surprise, surprise, we still have somewhat of a relationship as opposed to, you know, oh, if I'm moving out, I won't have anything to do with you anymore. I'm like, oh, okay, sure. I'm like, well, if that's what you feel you got to do, okay. That was pretty much my response to that. Anyway, oh god, the what ifs are like spinning through my head. I am pretty sure that if she was still living with me, that my daughter wouldn't be living with me. Although I'm still on the fence as to whether Allison living with me is a good thing. Yeah, because it feels like right now pretty much all she's doing is partying with her friends all night and crashing at my place all day. Which, you know, I mean, as long as she's not bringing people I don't know to my house when my home when I'm not there, and not bringing any drugs by my place, I'm mostly okay with it, at least for now. I'm really glad to. Most importantly, I'm just really glad to have her home. But yeah, I don't think she would have come home if.
Not good. Definitely not good, Gatos and Chad. I firmly recognize that.
Most of them have already been fixed, but is that enough to save the election?
We have the technicians out there. They looked at it and determined that this has been a printing issue.
We'll take another look at the races across the country where some results are already beginning to trickle in, affecting the balance of power, especially in Washington, D.C. We are 30 minutes.
So to shed a little light on that, basically the way it's working right now is when you come in, obviously you got to show ID to show that you're eligible for voting, and they need to match you up with the record in the county recorder's office of your registration to vote, which I think is a good thing. Oh my God, yeah, the places that are trying to just get away with voter ID laws and just let anybody walk in and say, you know, oh, I'm such and so, let me vote. Yeah, I do think that's a problem, and I think most people agree with me on that. It's not voter suppression to require identification of people voting. I mean, my God, you need ID to do damn near anything else. So, you know, from cashing a check to buying cigarettes. So, you know, yeah, I don't think that's too much to ask. And that, as I mentioned earlier, went off for me without a hitch. Well, actually, I had a minor hitch. Apparently, my digital signature didn't match the signature on record, which doesn't surprise. My signature's kind of a scribble anyway. And I'm not good at signing with my finger on a touch screen. So they wanted to see my driver's license. I busted it out, and they're like, "Do all your addresses match?" I'm like, "Yep." I've been in the same place for about 6.5 years now. So that's one nice thing about being somewhat stable. When I was younger, there were times where I used to, you know, change my address. God, sometimes it seemed like monthly, and yeah, that makes things like voting difficult. Used to be, like now you can vote anywhere, but it used to be you had to actually vote. You had voting districts, and you had to vote in a location that was near your home. So I remember I used to maintain a mailing address, but not always live at that address, which sometimes meant, you know, this is before I got my felony and lost my right to vote, sometimes meant some pretty long journeys to the corner of 35th Avenue and Sweetwater to vote.
Also, the 101 Price Freeway northbound, the border off-ramp, there's a motorcycle wreck.
I'm trying to keep my eyes on this truck in front of me here.
It's not too bad. You still got a little bit of leftover slow like from the 202 right now, the freeway down to...
Anyway, so the way it works is after you log in, a printer prints your ballot for you. And the reason it does this is everybody's ballot is different depending on exactly where they live, especially when it comes to local elections. Like for me, I was voting, and those aren't the elections that get a lot of attention, you know, in the media, but I was voting for like, for instance, city council. I'm District 6 for the city of Phoenix, or city council. So my ballot needs to specifically contain the election for city council. And, you know, that's one that I usually look a lot into. And, yeah, I voted for one person who actually sent a campaigner to my door, and I talked to that person a little bit, and I remember her pamphlet, and it was the only name that I immediately recognized in the ballot. Voted for her. So, hey, door-to-door campaigning works to a point. Oh, this isn't a good sign. Cop with lights on, and now traffic is slowing down, so it might be an accident up here in front of me. And I've already missed the exit for 51st and 59th, so I'm pretty much stuck on this to 67th, which is where I was planning on exiting anyway.
25 minutes to go before the polls are set to close. Again, we'll see if that happens. KTR.
Oh yeah, so there's a lawsuit going on right now. Apparently the problem they were saying was with the printers. So you're
That's right, Peter. I'm at the voting center at Shadow Mountain High School near Paradise Valley. I talked to Isho, who didn't vote early for a reason that's probably pretty common.
It was laziness. I had my ballot completed about 2 weeks ago. I just did not drop it in the mail, so I just decided to vote in person.
Yeah. Isho did get to vote eventually, but he had to wait a while to do it.
I opened my envelope at about 5:30 p.m. tonight.
Not working, and then we had to wait
Maybe it was
over
closer
2
to
hours
6
in line.
Not everyone had a bad experience, though.
Yeah, we got
Lauren
some kind of
says
police
the
activity
process
going
went
on
fairly
right here.
quickly for her, although she did choose to drop her ballot off.
So my experience was shorter than others because I ended up choosing to go into the manual slot.
Car
instead
100%
of
facing
waiting
the
for
wrong
it to be
direction.
personally tabulated. They are having a little trouble in there, and It's gone down a couple times.
And Larry says,
wow, I didn't know that was an
wait a
option.
while. It was more because of the line than any actual problems.
Probably an hour and a half, somewhere thereabouts. And like, it didn't take long to get the ballot and vote, but it took a long time to walk over to the machine because of the line.
The voters I've talked to outside more recently are saying things went pretty smooth.
So glad I used the website to find a polling location that said 0 people in line, 0 wait. I didn't have to wait at all. Just walked right in. Anyway, so apparently the problem that was happening earlier today was that these printers, which print the civic ballots, were having some kind of a problem. We're not printing correctly. And they were resulting in ballots that the electronic tabulation machines couldn't read. So yeah, God only knows how many people have ballots, you know, that are going to be need to be manually counted. Of course, a lot of people didn't want to have a manually counted ballot. They wanted to watch, you know, and see that their ballot was counted the way I did. And which, of course, a lot of people ended up, you know, oh, your stuff's not working here. Okay, well, where else can I go to vote? Which has resulted in some people needing to go to other locations, and they were saying on the news that the Republican Party did this emergency motion in the Maricopa County Superior Court, trying to get an emergency ruling that polls need to stay open until 10 p.m. tonight, and it hasn't been ruled on. It's 6:38 p.m. right now, and
spent a lot of time to communicate with independent voters, but rather just would try to play to their base.
Pence tells KTAR's Barry Markson the large turnout of Republican voters on Election Day is part of a trend started when former President Trump expressed doubt about the security of the voting process. Pence adds Democrats need to have about a 100,000 vote lead in the major races when totals are first announced to offset the Republican wave later. Jeff Munn, KTAR News.
The nation's eyes are on Arizona as control of the U.S. Senate.
For what it's worth, I fully intended to vote early. I did. It's just that my work schedule is so intense. I just haven't had that time that I normally spend after the polls open to sit down in my living room and research all the down ballot stuff that I haven't made decisions on yet, and take my time filling out my ballot at home. I just did not have the time to do that. I mean, granted, that's on me. I could have made the time, but and as expected, everything too close to call still.
To turn in the House as well. Early election results are now coming in on the East Coast, but other races will come down to the wire days from now.
ABC News
I think we got some East Coast answers.
So far, Republican Governors Bill Lee of Tennessee, Chris Sununu of New Hampshire, Mike DeWine of Ohio, Ron DeSantis of Florida, and Kay Ivey of Alabama will win re-election.
Ron DeSantis got re-elected. Who would have guessed?
Rand Paul of
That was sarcasm, kids.
And Todd Young of Indiana will all be re-elected. Oklahoma Republican Mark Wayne Mullen will win his Senate race. And Alabama Republican Senate candidate Katie Britt will win. That would make her the state's first female senator. The turnout has been steady in Pennsylvania, where the race for an open Senate seat is getting nationwide attention. This voter in Pittsburgh pulled the lever for Democrat John Fetterman, who says the stroke he had in May isn't an issue.
We have issues about a lot of things, but the stroke isn't one of them.
He's locked in a tight race with Republican Mehmet Oz, with continuing coverage of the midterms. Daria Albinger, ABC
potentially be the first
close at 7, or will
genuinely brain damaged senator. Awesome.
Maricopa County. We'll find out hopefully real quick, and we'll check in again with traffic with Chuck Rowe. KTR News Time is 6:41.
Strong values and strong opinions. The Mike Broomhead Show. I'm a Second Amendment advocate. I believe in the right to self-defense and self-defense.
Sounds like I'm not gonna hear before I get to work as to whether or not they keep the polls open till 10. I'm kind of doubtful about it, but I got a feeling that if it doesn't happen, and it looks like it's not going to happen, that we're going to have a situation where the results are hotly contested. And yeah, Carrie Lake has been pretty vocal about how she never did say she would just accept the results. And from what I heard, Katie Hobbs is not recusing herself from her part in the elections, as far as, you know, in certifying elections and whatnot. So, you know, the optics of that aren't good. Oh, are the optics of Arizona elections ever good?
Hi, this is Stephanie Fullerton from Fullerton Financial Planning. Join me Saturday afternoons at 1 p.m. and Sunday evenings at 6 p.m. for the Fullerton Financial Hour to get some of your financial
Oh, it's going to make it to work on time. That's impressive.
You can also go to FullertonOffers.com.
6:43 right now. I never get that red light at Roosevelt. That was kind of odd. You know, lately I've been doing Van Buren, and I kind of feel like it's faster than going this way down Garfield, but I don't know. I just feel like going down Garfield tonight. Gosh, anything else on my mind other than the election right now? No, not really. As I mentioned, I did go to Priscilla's this morning, and that was pretty nice. This time she finally texted me the pedestrian gate code. So kind of wondering like why she didn't do that sooner, and I'm thinking it's possible she didn't even know it sooner because she's got a reserved covered parking spot, and while the gate has a place to put in a code, she's got like a key fob that opens her gate. So.
The upstairs is even better. Sonoran desert sunsets right from your window.
Now, granted, I'm sure I could just hop right over that gate, but she said that she's really worried that me doing that's going to get her in trouble with her landlord. So I think she's being overly paranoid about it, and that in general gated complexes are a joke, but I figure at least I could do is kind of respect her wishes since I'm going to her place. I really wish they'd just make Roosevelt Street go through, but it's pretty clear there's no plans for that to ever happen, and that all the property to the right is all private property, so it's not really an option without doing some kind of eminent domain, which probably never happened. Yeah, it really is a crapshoot as to whether this is faster or Van Buren is faster. I guess it all depends on how lucky I get with the lights and whether I get stuck behind other cars going down Garfield like I just did.
As a judge looking into a lawsuit by the Republican National Committee against Maricopa County. It requests that polling sites remain open until 10 p.m. tonight, 3 hours later. Republican candidates Carrie Lake and Blake Masters are listed as plaintiffs in the suit, claiming technical issues with ballot tabulators prevented voters from obtaining and casting a ballot within a reasonable period of time. The polls are currently scheduled to close in 15 minutes. And remember, even if this lawsuit fails and the polls do close at 7, as long as you are in line at a voting center by 7 p.m., you will be able to cast your vote tonight. Currently, the first results will be released at 8 p.m.
And if you work at Amazon, you will not be excused for being late. You will lose your pay and you will lose your UPT.
And that's Maricopa County Recorder Stephen Richard telling the Gatos and Chad Show that he knows he let voters
I'm making
down
it to
with
work on
technical
time. I'm
issues at
feeling
more
good
than
about it.
60 vote centers across the county. He blames a printer setting problem and says in hindsight, testing should have been done more recently instead of a month ago. But now the county
Yeah, I never
reports
noticed that
the
sign
tabulation machines at 62
right there.
of the 67 problematic tabulation centers have been fixed, and they've been fixed
On
for
that
several
stoplight.
hours. On top
I
of
think it
that,
says not a
votes
through
that were
street.
not counted on site can be counted at elections headquarters tonight.
It's hard for me to read it.
Nearly 217.
Yeah, not a through street. Yeah, it's funny. Oak Street has one of those signs on it too. This very much is a through street. It goes through to 79th Avenue. And 79th Avenue goes through to Van Buren. So I would contend that that sign is lying. It's also an Amazon warehouse on the left. I'm sure I've mentioned that before. PHX5. You know, it always seems weird to me when I'm loading a truck going to PHX5, which I find myself doing often. That we actually load full semi trucks to go to this warehouse on the left that I'm driving by, and I always wondered like why we don't have like just a tunnel that goes from one building to the next building with some kind of a conveyance method to just move pallets from Amazon on the right side of the street to Amazon on the left side of the street. So one thing I did mention is that, you know, when all this problems were going on at the voter center at the different voting centers today with the printers not printing correctly, resulting in ballots that couldn't be tabulated immediately, that I was probably asleep in Priscilla's bed, but I did actually stay up later than normal today, and hopefully I'm not too tired of my forklift tonight. But I got horribly distracted by Reddit, which is not something that has happened to me in a while. I don't spend nearly the amount of time on Reddit that I used to do like nearly a year ago. A lot of it due to the fact that I work all the damn time now, but it's just I don't find Reddit to be as engaging as I did a year or 2 years ago. But my daughter recommended that I go, maybe about 8 months ago, go to the Amazon FC subreddit. And I finally landed there day before yesterday. And this morning I was just, or maybe it was yesterday that I landed there. I don't know. Days are so confusing when you work graveyard shifts. But yeah, I kept farting around in there until I damn near was like falling asleep. You know, and I should have already been trying to go to sleep, but I was laying in Priscilla's bed after she went to work, just being thoroughly amused by that subreddit. Yeah, apparently some Amazon service, some Amazon warehouses have like secure parking lots where you got to show ID to get in the parking lot with security guards and stuff. It was kind of funny seeing the conversation about that. I'm like, wait, what? Ours like it's just anybody can drive through it. Someone's like, yeah, ours has 2 entrances. And I'm thinking, yeah, ours has 3, 2 of which go to completely different roads. Yeah, there's 2 entrances on the 79th Avenue side, and then there's the one that goes to Roosevelt, which is like a private drive directly out to 83rd Avenue. Anyway, I gotta wrap this up. It's time. I need to get in there, try to eat a little something before I go to work. So anyway, thanks for coming with on the drive. Hope you were able to follow my incoherent babbling while cranking up the news, and also hope you voted on